this drum. This drum rises. This drum rises the divine feminine. Hey there, I'm Barbara Gail from the Rhythm Inlet, and today I'm honoring one of my most primary and influential teachers, the late, great Layne Redmond, author of When the Drummers Were Women, and let's not forget the byline of that title, A Spiritual History of Rhythm. And yes, I do say herstory, and I've done that for at least 2 decades, thanks to another amazing teacher of mine, Ubaka Hill, who helped reframe the language for me around that. Anyway, this is about Layne because we're celebrating her birthday. Happy birthday, Layne. So here we all meet again in our worldwide annual commemoration space. And it's a very exciting year for everyone in the Layne Redmond community. Layne, you'll be inducted into the Percussive Arts Society's Hall of Fame in November, and this is really huge. This to many of us feels really huge. It's quite an honor and really helps to put Layne and her work in a spotlight that she has long deserved. There's so much I could talk about. Layne's life and contributions have profoundly influenced mine and Jeff's, my partner in life and in the Rhythm Inlet, and the work that we've done in the world since I first met Layne in March of 1993 during a When the Drummers Were Women weekend. And her legacy inspires my life's ever-evolving purpose, even to this very day. Yes, Layne was an incredible drummer and percussionist. Yes, Layne was an inspiring and demanding teacher. I'm looking at her poster over there on my wall. And as an artist, as a researcher, as a seeker, her realms of exploration and the multiple disciplinary connections that she made was beyond the beyond. She wasn't just a talented artist. She was a true cultural creative and pioneer. Her prolific body of work expanded our understanding of the depth and breadth of one of the natural laws governing the universe, that being rhythm, and our relationship to it and the feminine principles behind it. Her photographic documentation of ancient artifacts depicting goddesses, named goddesses at that, priestesses of those goddesses, and everyday women playing frame drums, focused on spirituality and drumming, and placed women at the heart of it. This was once a powerful instrument for ritual and reverie, in the temples and in the streets, at a time when women were the drummers, the healers, oracles, and spiritual leaders. And Layne's work with the Mob of Angels, her women's tambourine troupe, brought forward the concept of ritual drumming into women's contemporary ceremonial arts. That and Patricia Rice's poem, The Ancient Ones, are what inspired me the most in leading my women's tambourine and frame drum programs called Moonrise, Daughters of an Ancient Pulse. Keep in mind, there have been generations on this planet where women were not permitted to practice their healing crafts, their expressive arts, their community leadership, their spiritual practices and powers, including playing their frame drums. Even in our own lifetime, let's face it, drumming has been a male-dominated field. Today, a woman picking up her frame drum is a symbolic gesture that breaks the barriers to the once forbidden, but not forgotten. A woman playing her frame drum speaks to her personal healing journey as well as her connecting and communing with the natural rhythms of her own life and life energies in all its forms. To me, that's true women's rights and women's empowerment. The divine feminine is not a new concept and has been explored by psychologists and theologians alike. And right now, it's really seeing a resurgence, what's being called the rise of the feminine, as multiple traditions are exploring their relationship to a feminine paradigm more than ever. Awareness of life's feminine principles are on the rise. Simultaneously, the world continues waking up to the pulse of the frame drum, to the pulse of the earth, to the pulse of all life in the Layne Redmond tradition. And in my view, a woman with her frame drum is the face of the rise of the feminine. To me, one of the most profound stories of Layne's legacy is born out of Layne's invitation to come teach in Cyprus, after some women there had read her book. And I talk about this a lot, actually. I think it's truly remarkable and inspiring. These women are descendants of those very women who thousands of years ago held positions of spiritual power as frame drummers, as priestesses of the goddess Aphrodite. Herstory, which is a mouthful to say, but I choose to say it, herstory, those women were among many in the ancient Mediterranean world who were forced to lay down their traditions and their drums. Generations later, in that very land where the frame drums of the ancient ones fell silent long ago, the vibrations of frame drums are being heard again. Yay! Women have been picking up their frame drums, drumming in ritual performances in the fallen temples, invoking and reawakening the spirit of the divine feminine with their drums. Thanks to Layne, a great ancestral healing has taken place. So, funny story, Ianthe Sparsis, and forgive me if I'm not pronouncing your name correctly. She's one of the founding members of Ma Gaia, those drummers who brought Layne to Cyprus. She decided to go tambourine shopping while visiting family in Florida. This was, I guess, about 15 years ago. She drove over 3 hours to a music store. I'm going to drive to a music store. Hello, are you open? Ring, ring, are you open? Yep, we're open today. Okay, great. We'll be about 3.5 hours. See you soon. Click. Which happened to be my music store, the Rhythm Inlet. Yeah. The store was buzzing with customers, and I wasn't there. Jeff was. And he heard someone in the frame drum corner playing like they knew what they were doing. And to tell you the truth, in a store dedicated to the folkloric hand drums and percussion from all over the world, all hand drums, that doesn't always happen when somebody comes in there and you're like, I hear something. Somebody knows what they're doing. Luckily, I happened to call Jeff for some random business question, and he said, oh, by the way, one of Layne's students from Cyprus is here. And I was like, what? I dropped everything and I ran over before they could leave, and I actually had to change my clothes. I was probably just still hanging out in my sweats, I work from home. So I got there before they left, and they had been there for 2 hours. And bless Ianthe's sister who was with her and her little girl, they were ready to go. They had had enough. But this was amazing. And to tell you the truth, we couldn't have planned it better if we'd even tried. I mean, I can barely ever make a lunch date with a friend. So this really blew our minds. A memorable story for me. And I hope for you too. Ianthe. Honestly, when you're in the Layne Redmond frame drumming sphere, synchronicities abound and magical, mystical energies and experiences rule. Layne's fans and followers are worldwide. Her work and legacy continues, connecting us all And that's really thanks to social media. I am thoroughly enjoying meeting you all and making really wonderful, beautiful, heartfelt friends in our uniquely loving and supportive Facebook groups. And those Facebook groups, by the way, are all dedicated to Layne, thanks to Miranda Rondeau and her labor of love and everyone who contributes there in that space. Some of you who have found your way here have worked with or have studied with Layne. And if you have, please say so in the comments below, and where you met her, or I don't know, better yet, share your story. Share your story, especially now on her birthday. And some of you here wish you had had the opportunity to meet and work with Layne. But you also have found your way here. You too have a story to tell. And that story, your drumming and your frame drum story, your journey of what brought you to the drum, what brought you to Layne, and any of her vast projects, that matters. You are what keeps Layne's legacy alive. And we'd love for you to share your story. We really would. Your story inspires others. It inspires all of us and lets us know that Layne's legacy continues. Layne Redmond was an accomplished percussionist who entertained and awed. And she was a teacher and a ceremonialist who inspired drummers and those of us drawn to ritual. She was very talented and published gorgeous, innovative, mind-altering, and spiritually enlightening music. And she was a fiery personality with great passion and drive who followed her interests and instincts, crossing into and connecting all sorts of concepts, topics, and modalities to rhythmic states of consciousness, including yoga, qigong, Brazilian candomblé, and the music, dances, and spiritual practices and cultural significance of candomblé, photography, filmmaking, earth-based rituals, sound healing, what brain waves look like while in a meditative drumming state, the chakra vibrational centers of the body, and of course, the ancient artifacts as they related to ancient goddess cults and the frame drum, and on and on. She linked those disciplines together and revealed how a lot of what we're now discovering about the healing and transformational power of rhythm has already been known in traditional cultures for thousands of years. She taught and she encouraged us to teach, which many of us have, and now some of our students are teaching too, carrying her waves forward. Layne's work and legacy has had a rippling effect the world over. Her book is now in its second English edition, and it's also been published in multiple languages and was released in Italian earlier this year, which is wonderful. You know, a lot of those images are in Italy, bridging science and spirituality. Through all of her tireless research, Layne enlightened many of us to the profound effects that rhythm has on the neurological and energy systems of the mind-body, and on the spirit that dwells in the human heart and soul. But, you know, really more than that, she placed women and the divine feminine in the center of the pulse of it all. She's connected women around the world to one another, to the earth, to the ancient ones, and to giving birth to ourselves. Layne, I'm so excited that later this year you'll be inducted into the Percussive Arts Society's Hall of Fame. I just wish you were here to experience it. Although I also know that you could be quite uncomfortable with receiving public praise, acknowledgments, and accolades. But Jeff and I will be there to witness this huge event, to be a part of it, to honor you, and to gather with all the friends who are there to do the same. Hashtag Layne's legacy lives. And in Layne's own words, blessed beats forever. Well, that's it for this year's video. I'm Barbara Gail. One drum, one dance, one heart. Thanks for joining me, and I look forward to being with you in this space again soon.